It's the Supreme Click Legend series, 14mm overall thickness with the pad. It's got a lifetime warranty, 5-year commercial. It's got a hand scrape surface. It's got wax impregnated edges.
What does that mean?
That makes it more water resistant.
Okay. What is wax impregnation?
Wax impregnation, what they've actually done on all the locking right here, they've actually coated it. It's actually got a little like wax coated in there. If you run your finger down here, you can actually kind of feel it, and it comes off a little bit.
Okay.
But that's normal. That's why they wax impregnate it. Makes it water resistant on the seams.
So that if water happens to sneak through your grooves,
an occasional spill or something like that was going to be more resistant to the water.
Okay.
Inside the boxes are going to be all the same amount. You're going to have 5 of each size, 5 small, 5 medium, 5 large. Every box has the same amount of square footage. On the Legend series, it is considered what they call a drop and lock installation. You just take it over. They're actually really not locking end joints. The first end joint on this right here, they're just kind of like overlapping, and it's just going to sit down right on the end joint like that. Sitting kind of like overlapped on each other on the locking mechanisms. Now this first row is not fully locked. It can easily come apart if I just like pull the planks apart like this, because it's not an actual locking. That's what they mean by drop and lock. Drop and lock is not fully engaged until you install your second row. So once you've done that, lock it. It will fully engage the locking. So once this row is in, your previous row is fully locked now. Your tongue side's right here, will lock into the bottom portion of the locking. So when we're going to slide down, then the plank is going to lock down to lock onto the end joints. So we're going to lock our long side in first. Once you get that locked in, then you're going to slide it down. And once you meet this piece right here, you just easily go down. That's what it means by drop and lock. Now that I put it in the second row, it locks the previous row. So that means this row right here is not fully engaged until you lock the next row. So each row locks the previous row down.
But can you pull those apart now? Long ways.
Oh, long ways? No, once you get your installation fully down, you shouldn't be able to not pull this apart. I'm just laying out planks randomly just to kind of, get your installation started.
Is this so you can just see what you're working with?
Yeah, just kind of see what you're working with, because like I said, on installation-wise, you don't want your end joints being any closer than 8 inches apart.
Right.
So you want to use planks in different locations.
You don't want to have 2 rows where the end joints are right next to each other.
Exactly. You want to get as much of a random look as you can get.
That puts down all the pieces that we're going to put down.
Now, are you essentially pre-sorting right there? Or are you leaving them out so that you can grab what you need as you go?
I'm just kind of doing it so I can grab as I go.
Okay.
But I am trying to throw planks randomly around the room. I'm still going to just grab a random plank because I know at one point I'm going to get to where an end joint is going to be closer than 8 inches. When I go to start the installation, I want to start all the way at the left at the wall and then work from the left going this way. So in other words, these 2 planks right here, I went like this to lock down with the tongue. So that means I really need to push this thing all the way over here to start in the corner, because I want to work down off of the bottom portion.
So when you start, you're going to be in the top left corner. That means...
Yeah, front left corner of the room. The tongue is facing the wall here.
Right.
And the tongue is facing the wall over here.
Okay, because you're always going to drop tongues into grooves.
Yes.
So you need your grooves always available to you.
Yeah, your grooves should always be facing out towards the field. I'm just really like butting end joints together.
Right.
Or because they just overlapped here.
What's hard about it isn't laying down the planks. What's hard about it is the possibility that you might nudge them or something.
Yes, nudge them or move them from installation-wise.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull this flooring out away from the wall a little bit, making it easier, because laminate flooring gets more stable the more weight you get onto it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move it away from the wall, and I'm going to flip myself around.
Really? Even with drop and lock?
Even with drop and lock. Still want to do it. I can line up my end joints, make sure they're perfect and snug right here. You want to run your finger across the seam here, because you want to make sure it's even as can be. The reason I pulled away from the wall so that I can get it on with my knees. So that way I'm bracing over this seam right here. So then we're gonna get our next plank. You see what I wanna do? I'm just gonna move this down a little bit so I can stagger it like that. If I had a full wall here, I would just go over here and slice it off.
So you could still do some cutting even with random length laminate.
Oh yeah, you'll still do some cutting with random lengths. I'm smooth on that. I can use a full piece, but of course I'm going to be close to 8 inches, so what we'll do here is just use a medium-sized piece. I'm off by 8 inches on my next plank here. On this type of installation, you want to go as random as possible, so you're going to have to keep grabbing random planks to make sure you're offset.
And some of your randomness is going to be guided by where your end joints are.
Exactly, where your end joints are or what pieces you're going to use. That should be easily slide on your install. But when you're ready to lock it down, you go ahead and slide it down, then you just go down.
Drop it right in.
Drop it right in. That's drop and lock. So, but as I said, that means this seam is still not fully locked until I put in the next row.
So it looks engaged.
Looks engaged.
But it's not trustworthy.
But yeah, not trustworthy because you haven't got the next row in.
You could have a little gap right there on the end joint as you're starting.
As you're getting this installation started. As further along you go, the more stability you'll get in an installation.
Now, do you do 2 rows at a time usually?
To get started.
To get started you can?
Yep, to get started you can.
Okay. Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, probably a good idea on drop and lock to get started.
Because you're going to have rows lock as you go, right?
Yeah, your first row is not fully engaged, so it's better off to go ahead and just use.
And now because you've got the 8 inches of overlap, the only piece you can't use is a small one.
I can use, yeah, see, I can't use a small one because it's going to be too close.
But the medium or the large are both available.
So medium or large, so let's go with the large size here.
There we go.
Now that we got the first 2 rows done, this should be smooth sailing going on. Go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and just use the long piece here. Make sure your end joints are off. But I still want to incorporate a small piece in here. So a lot of times if you want to do a small piece, you can incorporate it somewhere like in the middle of this board right here or something like that. And
now
then
you know you need a medium somewhere.
I need a medium size. So that's what you're going to end up doing in the installation of this right here. Just figuring out where you want to put planks. There you go. That's a box and a half. After I got at least 2 rows down, I installed the next 3 rows in literally 5 minutes.
Not even.
Not even 5 minutes. The box and a half, 21, another 10, so about 30, 35 square feet in just a couple minutes.
And at what point do you push it back up against the wall?
Well, I've got 4 rows down now, so let's go ahead and put it up against the wall now. It's good to have weight on a laminate. Once you got our 4 rows done,
the laminate is the weight on the laminate.
Yep, and then we can adjust it and slide it. And then, of course, get your spacers. Put your spacers over here along the walls.
Right.
When you put this all the way up against your wall, when you put your baseboard or your quarter round on here, that's what will lock this final row up against the wall.
Each row of floor holds the previous floor down vertically, but on the ends near the walls, it's the trim that does it.
It's the trim that will hold it down. And then also as an FYI too, since if you want to come down here and look at this, by being wax impregnated, you'll start to see a little bit of some whiteness. That is from the wax impregnated edges coming off, which is good for the seal. You can get a rubber spatula or a real like microfiber cloth or something like that to wipe those away if you need to.
Okay.
Like on other installations on angled angles, when you're working on a current row, sometimes they cup up a little bit like this during the installation of the rows. The current row that you're always working on will always cup up a little bit. You always want to leave that up because that way your locking mechanism is not fully engaged, which is what you want to do on this angled angle.
And they stay that way until you're finished with the row.
Yeah, they stay that way until you're finished with the whole row to go through and fully engage the locking. This right here is not the case.
So at every stage, the long side and the short side, it's gonna lay down.
Drop and straight and lock, straight down. Let's say this piece is locked in right here.
Okay.
And then I'm working this way.
Right.
Oh, okay, that didn't go in, did it?
That's right. They're not locked together because you need to drop it down.
Yeah, you have to take this thing to drop it down.
which may lift up your entire other row, the rest of your row.
Oh yeah, or could mess up the installation. So if you're doing it the opposite way, you're going like this. Oh, that's not right. Don't lock it and then try to bang it over here. You'll hurt this edge right here.
Okay.
If you do notice that an end joint has come apart right here, if you go all the way to the end of the row, up here where your wall is, if you got a pry bar, I'll show this to you. So what you can do is if that row has come apart, whenever you have a spot up against the wall like this, it's going to be some type of cut edge.
Right.
That is going to be covered by a baseboard or a quarter round. So if you got an end joint that's, ooh, this end joint's, it came out for a little bit, maybe an eighth of an inch, just grab your, I just stick it on here and then you got your little lip right here. You'll stick it up over the edge of the laminate right there. And then you'll get a rubber mallet or a hammer, and then you can
Hammer against the large end.
bang it right there, and then it'll
Pull those together.
Pull the plank in.
Okay.
That's if you have to, but you shouldn't have to do that, because once you push it down and lock it together, they shouldn't come apart. You should be able to get this installed done in no time. If you have questions, definitely give us a call. We're happy to help with install questions.